I have a bit of a confession to make. I have never seen Star Wars. Like none of them. None of the new ones. No Mandalorians. None of that. And the only reason why I have yet to see it is because I enjoy the looks on people's faces when I tell them I haven't seen Star Wars. Hey everybody, my name is Dawn, aka the Criticizer of Books, and I am one half of the Novel Universe podcast. I do a podcast with my friend Ashley, and typically we talk about books together, but sometimes Ashley and I read different books and we want to talk about them. So here we are. And today I will be talking about Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stiefvater. This is book 2 in the Dreamer Trilogy. Book 1 was Call Down the Hawk. If you have not read Call Down the Hawk, even though I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free and a spoiler edition, the spoiler-free edition is probably going to spoil Call Down the Hawk. So if you want to read Call Down the Hawk, I'd recommend you popping out now, because even the spoiler-free of this is going to spoil book 1 for you. So thanks for looking in at us, but it's going to be spoiled. But if you don't care, then hello. We're going to be talking about Mr. Impossible. I keep wanting to call it Master of the Universe. I don't know why. Not even close, but whatever. Mr. Impossible picks up where Call Down the Hawk left off, where Ronan and Hennessy, I want to call her Hen Dog, and Bird, they ride off into the sunset on a skateboard. That ending in book 1 was really weird, but we're not going to talk about that. I gave this book a 4.5. I really had to think about it though, because when I closed the book, I was like, what the hell did I just read? This book is only 338 pages and it took me 2 weeks. Because Stiefvater doesn't just write stuff because she got nothing better to do. Everything is important. Gotta pay attention. Sometimes Dawn don't pay attention and I have to slow down. So it took me 2 weeks to finish this book. It should only taken me 4 days. 2 weeks. So in Mr. Impossible, the plot is very simple. The visionary is someone who has a vision of the world coming to an end by the hands of a Zed, which are the word for dreamers, and the moderator's job is to kill the dreamers to stop the apocalypse, basically. And this is still the plot of this book. However, Ronan, Hennessy, and Bird are looking for ley lines to stop Ronan's night wash and to enhance their power, or just to because the night wash is kind of slowly killing Ronan. So they're looking for ley lines so that he won't die. Meanwhile, Jordan and Declan and Matthew are looking for this object called a sweet metal that will keep them awake even if their dreamer died. I only really disliked 2 things from this book. One of them being Bird. He was annoying. All he did was go on and on about these little theories about life and what are you thinking and what are you feeling and I'm over it. I think that was intentional. I think he was supposed to be annoying. I don't know. If not, he was. And the other thing that bothered me was, even though this book is only 338 pages, I still felt like Stiefvater was writing, she was a little too wordy, a little too loquacious. I'm like, girlfriend, get to the point. Please, for the love of God, get to the point. Because please get to the point. Because it's so dense. It's so dense. Oh my God. It's so dense. Like, just please get to the point. I'm ready to be done. But other than that, this book's great. What I liked about this book is Hennessy and Jordan. Especially Hennessy. I think she had the best storyline in this book. We got to learn a little bit more about her, particularly her relationship with her mother. Not so much her father, but more so her mother, which it made a lot of sense. the way she is makes a lot of sense. And then her connection with Jordan. I can't really say too much because I will be getting into spoilers if I do, but just know that Hennessy is the best character in this book. All right, so if you have read Call Down the Hawk and you haven't read Mr. Impossible yet, read it. I don't know if it's better than the first book, only because the first book was different. Sometimes I tend to rate a book 2 lower than a book 1 because book 1 was such a new experience for me, whereas this is a book 2 and I've already experienced book 1. I hope that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. But so I kind of liked it the same. But I do highly recommend this series. This is not fluff, folks. This is not fluff. No Steve Otter book is fluff. It's all of her books are very dense. You probably should read it with another person or a group of people just so that you can discuss it, because it's a lot going on here, man. And you're going to be like, what? So, yeah. Read it with someone else if you can. Okay, so now we're going to get into the spoiler edition of Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stiefvater. I just kind of ran that through. By Maggie Stiefvater. So let's start with the biggest. Let's start with the biggest revelation of this book. Bird is Ronan's dream. He dreamt him. I did not see that coming. I should have. I should have, because in the first book, Bird just kind of Ronan just kind of hears Bird just like talking, and then he just appears, and I'm like, what? He dreamt him. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because Bird is very knowledgeable and he's very confident. He gets shit done. He doesn't like shy away. Like he gets it done and he knows what he's doing. And maybe Ronan feels like a part of him is just kind of aimless. He ultimately wants to be in a place where he can be with Adam and not take out monsters from his dreams. So he kind of knows what he wants in that respect. But, and although Ronan is an intimidating guy, he's still a little bit insecure. Maybe Bird is just a side of him that is just like confident and let's go. I know what I want. Let's do it. No one's going to get in my way. And Ronan needs that. He needs that push. I don't know. That's why I say reading this with another person is probably beneficial, because you can kind of talk it through with another person. But Bird had a sweet metal and he didn't die. How did Ronan know about sweet metals? How did he get that? And what was it? I don't even think we know what it was. He just didn't die at the very end. Or he didn't fall asleep. I don't think Hennessy killed the Dreamers. I think she just kind of made them fall asleep or something. But Bird doesn't fall asleep and Ronan does. So I don't think Bird can have a mind of his own. I mean, Jordan has a mind of her own outside of Hennessy, so maybe he does. I don't know, but I'm thinking that the visionaries saw Bird causing the apocalypse, because as they were traveling, he's tearing shit up all over the country and causing some shenanigans. So I think that Bird is the end of the world, or Ronan essentially causes the end of the world. So that's awesome. I didn't see that coming at all. Nothing I liked is that we learn a little bit more about Hennessy and her mother, and how her mother just sort of left her alone one. She's abandoned her when she was like 8 years old or 9 or something, which is traumatic. And I'm thinking this is probably why Hennessy is like this, because her mother, she says her mother loved her husband more than anything else, including Hennessy. So, ooh, that's tough. And so the lace, we got a little bit more information. Well, I was confused about the lace in the first book, but I think all it is it's just dread. And so dread is different for different people. And so for Hennessy, whatever it is, I don't quite know. But I think it stems from her relationship with her mother. And it sort of makes her this really tragic character because it's like if she could just find love, and it doesn't necessarily mean romantic love, but just love in general and acceptance and unconditional love, then I think she would feel better and the lace would slowly go away. But the fact that she's pushing away the one person who can love her, which is Jordan, which is essentially herself, then she could start to heal and she won't see the lace so much. But she's pushing herself away. So that's why I felt like Hennessy was the star of this book, even though this book's about Ronan. I think she was the star of this book, and I liked her storyline a lot. Thinking I'm liking it even more than the Raven Boys as a whole. Like, I thought Dream Thieves book 2 in the Raven Cycle was probably one of the best books I've ever read, but if I'm looking at the series overall, I think I'm enjoying this series far better than the Raven Boys, just because that fourth book was yikes. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. This has been Dawn from the Novel Universe, and I'll catch you in the next booktube. Bye.